This is Lost in the Reel with Morgan, solo review this time. I'm definitely more of a rant than a review. Today we'll be discussing Knives Out, the 2019 film written and directed by Rian Johnson. I'm unfamiliar with his work. I saw that Star Wars movie he made, but that's about it. I'm not familiar with him. Full disclosure, I'm just going to start by saying the things that I like about the film, which is just the casting and production of design. Everything else is utter shit. I love the casting. I mean, you have an all-star A-list cast. Jamie Lee Curtis, Toni Collette, Christopher Plummer, Keith Stanfield, Ana de Armas. It's just, the list goes on. Amazing. The only reason this film is watchable is because of them and because they have skill. And the production design, pretty. You can tell they put a lot of the budget into it. Beautiful homes, beautiful costume designs. One costume in particular is one that Jamie wears. It's just like this red jumpsuit, and I'm like, oh, yeah, you look gorgeous. Rock it. I cannot. I would love to. But that was it. That was the positive things of this film. Everything else, horrible, you guys. I'm surprised this got positive reviews because I didn't know anything about it, and I did a little bit of research, and I saw that it got nothing but pretty great reviews. Shocking. I'm gonna dive in, and I'm gonna start with the directing, and that I'm watching this, and I not knowing who the director was, or the name didn't ring a bell. I was surprised that he made blockbuster films. Like, there is some repetitiveness and redundancy in his shots and angles. For example, 10-15 minutes into the movie, they're doing interviews with certain characters. Oh, BT dubs, not gonna do a synopsis. I admit I'm horrible at it. Just dive in. If you don't know the film, or you haven't seen it, just go online and search the synopsis. I also don't go watch the movie. It's not worth it. Anyway, the first 10-15 minutes, all you see are low angle shots, just low angle shot, low angle shot, low angle shot. He mixes it up a little bit within 30 minutes of the fucking film, and it's like a slow, steady center shot or a quick center shot towards the speaking characters, and that's it. That's the entire film, low angle shots. And I'm just like, does he not know how to film in any other way? Has he used a camera before? It was shocking. One time he got a little creative. At one point, Ana de Armas' character is being swarmed by the elitist, eccentric white family outside, and he has a moving circular rotation camera showing the chaos and what's happening in the scene, and that was pretty good, but that was about it. Further into his directing, a very simple thing, such as blocking and lighting, he manages to fuck up. I'm just like, what? For example, Daniel Craig's character and Anna's character are outside speaking, and there's a outside light in between the two actors, and it's just blinding. And multiple times you'll see that they're covered in shadows. Specifically, Stanfield's character is just horribly lit. The one black actor you can't get right, really. It's disrespectful, honestly. And it just happens constantly. At first I'm just like, okay, maybe he's trying to get a weird angle. Maybe he wants you to be blinded and focusing only on the light and not on what the dialogue and the actors are doing. It happens too many times, and it's just a move that I think an amateur filmmaker would make. I'm shocked. So yeah, lighting, blocking, multiple times you will see the characters moving around and the camera trying to follow them a bit, and there's a large cast, and he's trying to get all of them together, and he doesn't quite get it right, and you see him move, follow the characters and actors, and adjust because he didn't get it quite in the first go. And I don't want to see that. I think that's sloppy. I think that's lazy. it happened at first. It happened once, and I was like, okay, give him a chance. And it happens multiple times, and I can't see why he would want to do that on purpose. It's distracting and it's ugly. And a little bit of the editing too. The editing can be blunt. People would be having dialogue back and forth, and it would just cut to the other person's character too soon. It wouldn't flow. It was very choppy. I didn't like that. What else? A lot of bad things. Oh my god. It was just horrible. It's like he just gave himself a high resolution camera and was like, I have an A-list cast. I'm just gonna go at it. Don't need to worry about angles or shots or really thinking about blocking and lighting. It was embarrassing. It was painful to watch. And then sometimes when films fail directing wise, you're like, all right, we got the script, let's depend on that. Nope, also bad, what? Oh my gosh, it was again a little repetitive. A lot of the dialogue was unnecessary. We get it. The family are white elitists. They're pieces of shit. They don't deserve anything they have, which was, I think, the whole point of the movie is him trying to reiterate that over and over again by the little dialogue and their subtle racism and classism, and not so subtle, actually. It's very in your face. And it was just like it was almost comedic, but then it just kept on happening, and we're like, okay, you've told this joke for the past 40 minutes. We got anything new going on? Truly, if they didn't have the cast to say these lines, it would just fall flat on its face, the script. It just would not be good. It should have been trimmed. I at one point, I was like, is this movie over? Like, why is this still going on? I was getting antsy. I just wanted to turn it off, but I refused. It just should have been trimmed. The whole film should have been trimmed. It could have been maybe a little bit better, but no. And I understand that Rian Johnson wrote and directed. Maybe, Ryan, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do it all. You can ask for help. If you can't do it all by yourself, don't worry. And I wish he did. I really wish he did. The score, maybe it's because I was so upset by the directing and writing that I didn't really notice the score, is forgettable. I can't even speak about it. And then going back to the script, I loved the moral of the story, which I thought was essentially eat the rich, specifically the white rich. And because the elitist family, the whole argument is like trying to see who gets all the money and wealth of their father, Christopher Plummer, because after his like possible murder, suicide, which is kind of like in the background, like they're trying to make it like, oh, it's an adventure, it's like a whodunit movie. It wasn't very interesting. It was pretty predictable. It wasn't a murder mystery that I wanted. They tried to play it off like that, which was like, I was deceived. It was not like that. It was just a lot of dialogue between wealthy racists. That's it. But I did like how they were shown. We ended up hating them. It was very easy to hate them. And it was kind of making fun of almost one of the characters, played by Toni Collette, is wealthy, but she pretends to be a liberal. She, at one point during the chaotic circular camera scene, she yells to Ana de Armas' character, who is Christopher Plummer's nurse, who was the only person who really cared and took care of him. And she yells at her, like, I'm not like them. Don't worry, I respect you. I'm off Twitter. Like, she says that, and I love that. Made me laugh out loud. But that might have been all Toni, a little ad-lib. And I love that. But it was kind of funny because the kind of message that I thought Ryan was going for was just kind of screw white wealthy people. But here's a man who's white and most likely wealthy, who didn't give the one minority character, played by Lakeith Stanfield, anything. It was like he was a token black guy. He was passed over by Daniel Craig, who was the white savior of the film. And it was just bad. You had this amazing actor, Stanfield, and he just didn't get any dialogue, really. The shots, again, not specifically towards his character, because all the shots were bad, were just bad. They weren't detailed. They didn't really add to his character. The lighting was horrible. There was one scene when they're outside, and clearly Ryan didn't really think about it, but he just completely overshadowed, literally, because he's in the dark. Stanfield's in the dark, and you can't see him. You can't see. He's just there. He's not there anymore, and that's just so bad. That's lazy, isn't it? So at one point I was kind of getting angry about that. I'm just like, here's your message, is like, fuck white wealthy people, but like you're not giving anything to any of the minorities. Even Ana de Armas is playing a woman from Ecuador, but she's fairly a white Spanish Cuban. I won't go into that, but it was just it was just bad. And at one point we have the end of the film, and the family, they're trying to argue that like Anna's character, the nurse who was taking care of their aging father, doesn't deserve the inheritance that they deserve, which is laughable because they don't. But Daniel Craig gets the monologue and kind of gets that final defense for Anna by saying like, fuck you all, you're all just spoiled white wealthy people, you don't deserve anything, you've never worked hard in your life, which honestly sounds very familiar. I know several people who claim to have worked very hard for everything they've earned, but really it's just handed to them by mommy and daddy. But I just thought it was, again, kind of laughable that was the moral of the story, like, kind of fuck white wealthy people, but Daniel Craig's character is white and wealthy, and he has to defend the minority who should be defending herself. Like, they could have given that monologue to Anna, and he didn't. And I don't know. It was disappointing. Everything was disappointing. It all could have been better. It all could have been so much more. And it tried to be, but it just failed utterly. And I heard, there's some nice shots again, but anyway, I heard that it got nominated for a Golden Globe, which blew my mind, because after watching it, I read that, and I'm just like, whose dick did he suck to get that nomination? That's just, really? Possibly a white man being handed something he didn't quite deserve? I don't know. Yeah, really, you guys, I can't recommend you watch this movie. After finishing it, I had to watch a good kind of whodunit murder mystery, Murder, She Wrote, with the wonderful Angela Lansbury after this movie, which I watched last night, because it was just horrible. Just so bad. Please. Actually, I do respect Ryan, because he did throw in a little image of Murder, She Wrote being played in the film, because that is good writing. That is fair directing. It had better blocking and lighting, the episodes I watched last night, than Knives Out. A shitty, well, not shitty, but like a low camera budget TV show from the 80s had better blocking and lighting. Come on, Ryan. Come on. And overall, in summary, can't recommend it. I give it a D. The only thing that made it like slightly watchable was the all-star A+ casting. Those actors saved this film. God, thank you. Thank you for that. And the beautiful production design. Yeah, please, if you want to watch a good murder mystery comedy, go watch Clue. Please, don't even bother with this film. It is not worth it. Definitely don't. Go watch Clue. Or Murder, She Wrote. Yeah, this is Morgan and Lost in the Reel. and Jaime, my cat. Thank you, and thank you for listening to this rant. Bye.